Fun fact number 9, not such a fun fact. My 2 cents, my advice, deep thoughts, or whatever. But it is number 9 for the year. Narcissistic fathers. Now we know narcissistic people, but the strange thing is I keep running into people with narcissistic fathers. I'm not really sure what to say about that. I think everybody has to make their own choices, what they're willing to deal with and what they're not. But I just know recently that people in my life, close to me, dealing with the narcissistic fathers, you can't change them. Unless they're willing to go to a psychologist or a therapist and try to work out their issues, maybe, you're not going to change them. They have to recognize that there's something wrong, and if they come along with I am the good guy syndrome, and they're narcissists, and they lack real empathy, like everything they do, they may do really nice things for you, but in the end, sometimes you realize that the really nice things they did for you were manipulations, or really for themselves. It really wasn't for you. So that's a really hard one with narcissistic dads, because they don't own their own issues, and so they can't take a step back and say, wow, what I said was really, really inappropriate. So I'm going to give an example of one. I know somebody that they've been trying to rebuild their relationship with their father, and they went and saw them at Christmas time. They weren't sure if they were going to, but they thought they would give them another chance, and so they've been seeing them maybe once a year, but it's been difficult. And so they said, if I'm going to see you, I want to be at a public place. And they said, well, I'll rent a hotel and we can stay in it overnight. And they said, that's not what I want. I just want to meet you for lunch and maybe play a few games at a arcade or something, and just hang out and have lunch and exchange Christmas presents and just talk, but in a public place. I feel comfortable with that, but I don't want to be in a hotel. Well, they got a hotel room anyway, but the person said, well, I'll meet you where we said we were going to meet. I'm not coming to the hotel. So that was on them. It's like, well, I bought this really expensive hotel room and you should have come, and I did it for you. And so there's an example of, oh, I did it for you, but it's not for you. It's for them. And they're trying to guilt you into going, even though it's not something you're comfortable with, because they're trying to get their way and manipulate the situation to what they want it to be, not what you're comfortable with it being. But the meetup was great. There was a lot of honesty that was accepted, even though it might have been a little harsh about truths that weren't positive. It seemed like that those things were accepted, and so it was a positive thing, and the person I know walked away from it feeling positive, and like next year they would feel more comfortable meeting up with them, and that they would meet up with them the next year, because before the meetup they were kind of thinking they might not meet up with them again. So that was a positive thing. But then when the new year rolled around, they received a text saying, Happy New Year. from the narcissistic dad. And can I come to your graduation? Or are you gonna? Was it can I come to your graduation? Are you sending me an invitation to? No, it was more like not a question, but more of, am I coming to your graduation? More like that. Am I coming to your graduation? Are you going to invite me to your graduation? And the response from my friend was, no, I'm not comfortable with that right now. I was thinking about it, but I need time, and I'm not comfortable with that right now. I just don't. That's not something I feel like I can manage right now with my boundaries. Here's a boundary. Please respect it. But I really will like to see you again sometime, but I don't know if it'll be my graduation right now. I've got a lot on my plate. I'm getting ready for graduation. I'm working. I'm doing my senior project. I'm trying to get into grad school. I'm trying to do a lot of things. The response was, well, is it because of your mother? Because your mother's going to be there. And is it because your mother's going to be there? And why not? Why can't I come? Type of thing. Instead of saying, hey, if you're not comfortable, I understand. Is there anything you need? Is there anything you want for your graduation? I know you're out on your own. It's going to be a struggle. Is there anything I can help you with? And send me pictures of your graduation. It was, why can't I come? Is it because somebody else is coming? Is it, why? Why? So my friend answered, well, you respond, why? Well, because you've hurt me. You've hurt me, and I don't trust that you're not going to do something to hurt me and my friends who I care about. And these are the things that you've done in the past that I hope you remember that you did that hurt me. But here are some things that you've done in the past that hurt me, and you didn't seem to be even aware that those things hurt me. The response from the narcissistic dad was, well, I'm just the evil guy, and why don't we just go our separate ways? That is not an adult speaking. That's not a father. I'm going to tell you right now, if you have somebody talking to you this way, that is not a parent. That is not a father. They're not considering your feelings, your boundaries. They're selfish. You've pointed out that maybe they're not always a good guy in a very truthful way, and they can't face the fact that maybe they weren't perfect and they were not always the good guy. And they need to own some of the shit that they did in the past. Well, with a narcissist, you're not going to get that unless they seek help. This person had many, many years away from the other family units to figure out what went wrong and find a way to be better. And they chose to blame everybody else for what happened instead of figuring out what their part in it was and how they could be better in the future. So that's your narcissistic, I'm the good guy father. Then there was, I'm trying to reconcile with your mother. I know the mother. There's been no attempt to reconcile with the mother. And I'm just hitting a wall, and I love you, and I I would never do anything to hurt you and hurt your well-being and hurt your reputation, to a daughter. And I love you because I love you. A manipulation. I love you, and say, you don't love me enough to invite me to your graduation. A whole day of time and energy and stress and anxiety dealing with a parent who can't own their own stuff and is acting like an immature person throwing a tantrum. Not the best response. And so my friend said, I never said you were evil, and if that's what you want, okay. Because I'm the evil guy and we should go our separate ways. If that's what you want, okay. Well, the response then was, that's not what I want. What do you want? And basically the response was, I wanted not to have to spend a whole day with my stressing out and having a lot of anxiety talking to my father and explaining to him why I'm not comfortable with him coming to my graduation and him proving to me that him coming to my graduation isn't the best thing, and maybe going our separate ways is. I want a father that doesn't make me feel this way and that I don't have to work so hard to have a relationship with, and who respects my boundaries and understands that they did something wrong and that our relationship needs to be rebuilt, and I'm trying to do that, but I don't have to, because I've got a whole life ahead of me that I need to face. And then there's been no response. You can't expect somebody who can't empathize, who doesn't really put you first as a child, to change. You have to separate yourself. I know another person that has been living with their family for a long time who doesn't even accept who they are and controls everything, and has chipped their phone, and anybody who could be a positive influence or might get the attention of the child, and it's not even a child, we're talking somebody who's 23, 24 years old, that they're making them stay at home. They're telling other people that they're crazy because they're non-binary, and have different ideas than their parents. They're saying that the father tried to commit suicide because they left once. They ran away once, and the father tried to commit suicide. So that's on the child? I don't think so. I think that's on the parents. I think they need to get a grip. This person is an adult. They don't need to be living with you anymore. And if they want to leave, they have every right to leave. This person also has a job and makes money, but they want them to quit the job, but they can't have their own bank account at 23, 24 years old. The father's name is on the bank account too, so if they take out all the money, they're going to track them down and make them a prisoner in their own home. And this is in Phoenix, Arizona, which I'm really surprised. So you cannot reason, and sometimes you have to be really, really brave and just cut those ties, and sometimes leave without anything except maybe some support from a boyfriend or a friend, because you don't get a life then. You don't get your life. If you're a child, you are your parents' responsibility until you're 18, and basically for the rest of your life. But you're not their possession. you're not them. They brought you into this world, but you don't belong to them. And they brought you into this world to bring a life into this world. And your life doesn't have to be dictated by what they think is best for you. When you're little, a little bit, because you don't have enough experiences and knowledge. But the more they put boxes around you or say, here's the path, the more you're not living your life. A parent should guide a child through the child's curiosity. Another person I know wanted to be a singer, and she was tone deaf, darling. But when she danced, she was a natural dancer, and her parents should have put her in dance classes because she was good just naturally. But they kept trying to get her to be a better singer, and she wasn't going to be because she was tone deaf. Because they wanted her to be a singer, and she wanted to please them, and she wanted to be a singer. She thought that was it. But if you have a natural talent, well, I think this really goes back to not just narcissistic dads and I'm the good guy. What do they call them too? The nice guys or whatever. I think it goes back to some people. One thing that I said last year in one of my first fun fact videos, some people shouldn't be parents because all they're trying to do is repeat the mistakes they made or fix the mistakes they made or live through their children. This is their story, not yours. You've got to let them have their story. Anyhow, I got really deep into that one because there was a lot going on and I didn't even just talk about narcissistic dads. But if you have one, put your story in the comments down below. You don't have to like or subscribe, but I would like to hear from you and what your experience is. If you have a good father, that would be awesome. I've heard a lot of stories lately, and either mommy or daddy are off their rockers one way or another and shouldn't have been parents. Good thing they were, because some of you wouldn't exist and you're pretty awesome. But you had to go through a lot to get to where you are today. Me too. So love you all. And fun fact, not so much. Number 9. Ciao, Bellas.